So it's going to get worse. And this is what I want to make you all aware of now. Because you've been playing all of these law-tard games, these thinking you have answers in the law instead of looking at what occupied you and what treated you under peacekeeping since 1947. Change of Crown 1936, change of Crown 1953. Things are going to ramp up now. They will start attacking your families. And by way of that I mean they're going to start nannying your children more and more and more and give you less power over your own families because the state wholeheartedly believes that it is guardian of you and your children. This is why they can take your children away from you. This is why they treat you the way they do. This is why they accept lies from people and put them on the record. You're going to see this get harder and harder and harder. And it's not going to change until you realise where you came from as a people and start returning to it. You borrowed money off a banker in the Reserve Bank. You peddle money around that doesn't belong to you. You're piggybacking off someone else's wealth while you get to transfer those bills into something of value rather than having value attributed to the bill itself. That value gets transferred from the Treasury to the Reserve Bank. And this is why they said you'll own nothing. It's because your crown was taken in whole. You abandoned it and you allowed an administrator to take it in whole. And that administrator is going to clamp down on you harder and harder and harder now, whether you're in commerce, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you're at school. It's going to impress on you a whole bunch of stuff that you never believed would be possible coming from a government. And you're starting to see that in America when parents have no rights over their children at school. You're starting to see medical industry step up to the plate and try and manipulate your children into modifying their identities. It's all part of a devil's game that the government's been playing on your Christian soil, your Anglican soil for the last 70, 80 years. You've been raped. You've had your mines, your forests, your fisheries and your agriculture raped and stolen from you. You've had your family estates treated like wards of the state and guardianed by the state instead of standing in the Commonwealth. And the system, it can't rebut this. It's because it's under United Nations rules to administer the arbitration of your debts, your trade. It's called use of the fruits, the rules of usufruct, when they get to use your forests, your mines, your fisheries and your agriculture. And they get to take all that value and send it offshore in a Lima Agreement 1973. You're starting to see what occupying powers have done to you since 1967. You're starting to see how they're pulling the money out from underneath your feet, telling you you'll own nothing, when your constitution said that all debts shall be paid in gold and silver. You chose the RBA note instead of the silver coins. You failed to bring back a circulation of currency that was listed in your constitution. You failed to recognise what a banking power was and how it took military abeyance over all your towns and cities, putting monopoly boards over your very own land titles. The state now wholeheartedly believes that it can enter your property because it's not your property anymore. They are abandoning laws that have existed in your country for 100 years, while they force enter into properties to remove value from you. In the laws that they've made up, they continue to make up fines. They continue to burden you with burdens of warfare. They continue to increase the burdens they put on you. They treat you like children, yet you act like children. You have lawyers that stand up in defiance of the government, but enter into the government's legislation without considering that it is a foreign occupying power under Hague Conventions that have committed heinous international criminal offences. Every premier of every state has committed international war crimes going against the Nuremberg. But you fail to stand up in who you are as a people, and you can't teach the retarded population around you. They are so wholeheartedly invested in Frankenstein's monster, they want to keep it alive. They believe that Scummo, Elbow and the rest of them are there to serve them, when it is constantly proven that you are being oppressed, having your value taken from you, nothing returned back into your society. And this is evident after Lismore, when the police and the ADF didn't bother to help for 2 or 3 weeks. But because Maribyrnong is Bill Shorten's district, the ADF turn up on the first day. It's very indicative of how you're being treated in your society when no one is there to help you. They will charge you for the help. They will make it a difficulty for you to accept that help. You live in a society where you pay to play now because you will own nothing. You already own nothing. You have monopoly boards put down on your councils where you have Lord Mayors under a foreign crown treating you like wards of state, wherein he believes he's your guardian. Instead of you being citizens of the city, you became citizens of a foreign nation state called Australia, under the Order of Australia. The Order of Australia that committed heinous war crimes in Afghanistan and has now committed heinous war crimes through the Governor-General into the COVID Task Force Commander and force-mandated nurses, army, police, and so on. These are international criminal offences against the Commonwealth of Australia that you will never stand up for while you rally and protest like children in the cities. You have lawyers standing up and speaking about class actions against the Victorian government. No one speaks about international war crimes and forced medical procedure and medical experimentation under emergency acts. When you discover that they are occupying forces that have committed heinous international criminal offences, maybe you will start to realise who you are as they take away more and more and more of your liberties. They will come for your families next. They will bring legislation in so that parents can't parent their own children. You will start to see it more and more and more and more because you fail to stand up as men, scouts and riflemen of your cities and towns while they treat you like wards of state and try to tell you you don't have the right to stand up in international law under the Hague, Geneva and United Nations. You have a right of self-determination as defined by the Attorney General's office. it might be pertinent to look at that right and stand up as the scouts you once were and defend the towns you once were before they become monopoly boards forever.